I'd like to call this Public Works Procurement and Contracting Committee meeting to order. Today is January 6th, 2016. Roll call, please.
Calling the roll, Mr. Germana.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Ms. Conwell.
Here.
Mr. Greenspan.
Here.
Ms. Simon. Ms. Simon is absent at the moment. There is a quorum.
Okay. Any public comment?
No.
Okay. Approval of the minutes. No, November 18th, 2015 minutes were distributed. Can I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay.
One abstention.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you. One abstention, and it passes. The minutes are approved. First issue, 2015-0276.
Resolution number 2015-0276, making an award on requisition number 33677 to Precision Environmental Company in the amount not to exceed $721,000 for the courthouse building fire damper pre-renovation project, fire damper asbestos abatement.
Good morning. Stan Kozlowski, Public Works. Happy New Year to everybody.
Good morning.
This project, the engineer's estimate was $750,805. The Office of Procurement and Diversity set aside had a 15% SPE goal. The plans were prepared by Solar Testing Laboratories and CTG Environmental. The general scope of work for this project includes the removal and disposal of regulated asbestos-containing materials, and environmental cleanup work throughout the attic spaces and basement utility areas of the courthouse buildings to be completed in accordance with our plans and specs. The bids for this project were opened October 23rd, 2015. 4 proposals were pulled from OPD. 2 bids were submitted. We are recommending the lowest and best bid. The contract period for this project is about 6 months. We're hoping that we will be able to authorize the work around February 1st and complete it about August 1st. We would like to have this approved on second reading, suspension of rules, so we could go forward. The project is in our 2015 budget, and basically the contractor is basically going to be there to remove all the materials that I talked about before, and then our trades will follow up as soon as they remove the materials to fix the fire dampers. So that's basically, it's a 2-part type of work. So, any questions, I'd be happy to answer for you.
Okay, I see in the backup material, we have principal owner forms. We have 3 identical, it appears to be identical Precision Environmental Company owner forms. So I guess this is just clerical, that
Yes, I'd assume it's that way.
So the one thing that I didn't understand, there's an asterisk on the bid tabulation page, and it says per legal bid bond rejected. Is that of the 2 that were, or is that a third party? Good morning.
Good morning, Lenora Lockett, Office of Procurement and Diversity. The asterisk is for the second vendor. The second vendor's bid bond was rejected because they did not have the proper signatures on the paperwork for their item.
Okay, I just didn't know if that was for I couldn't see where the asterisk lined up, so. Oh, I see. Okay, I see where it's lined up now. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, I'm glad we had 2 bids, even though it was knocked out. It was way, I think
The second bid was higher than the first,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, 20,000 higher. Any questions from members of the committee?
Yes, Mr. Chair. As it relates to the fire dampers in the building, do we feel comfortable we've identified where all the dampers are? I know this has been a challenge.
There are a few more fire dampers, if I misspeak, in a different building.
Okay.
There's some stuff in the Justice Center that we're still going through. I think there's a couple that they're in a hidden ceiling that we're looking at to try to figure out how to address that issue. And then we'll come back with that type how we want to attack that as a separate project. But we didn't want to delay this project at the expense of locating those other ones.
So this is the old courthouse only?
Correct.
And how many fire dampers have been identified?
Lori Bierschbach-Tober from Public Works. I believe it was about 750 in that building.
Okay.
Not all of them had, issues with asbestos. They went through and then they found it. Then they had to go back and said, okay, we got to pull back and we have to make sure there's no issues from that point to move forward.
So this is only asbestos remediation prior to the actual damper repair
Correct.
replacement?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. There's they figured about our trades will do, and about 330,000 will be for them to come back and do the repairs that need to be done behind the asbestos removal.
So will there, this maybe is a technical question, obviously these dampers are in air ducts. How does this impact airflow or heating or HVAC operations within the building? If we're talking about asbestos, we're going to have to close off and seal off some vents to remediate them. How does that impact the delivery of HVAC services?
Part of the issue is once you go in and disturb it, like if in old buildings, look at tile floors. A lot of the old floors, they had asbestos in them. Until you break that surface, there's no issues. So the problem is they'll seal these things off. That's why our staff is trained for small repairs. Some of our staff is for certain repairs that we would make, but something of this magnitude would not qualify for plus the disposal. So they'll go in there, they'll isolate those areas, remove the asbestos, and then we'll come in and repair it. So that's the intent of why we have this as a separate contract, because you don't want that, once you disturb that, you don't want that stuff going through the ventilation system.
That's my point. So how is it going to be done nights, evenings, when the building's not being used, or during the day? Are there going to be portions or rooms of the old courthouse that aren't going to be ventilated or have any heating or air conditioning?
Most of it, I believe the work will be tried to be done at night and stuff, but there will be parts during the time when they seal that off that it will not, and they will be working directly with the people in the building. So when they go to seal it, because it has to be totally sealed and it has to be cleaned, or we have Solar going to be doing the testing to go after it's done to make sure it's acceptable for them to reopen the area. So it will be worked with them and directly checked it before it's opened up.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yvonne?
Through the chair to Stan. So you stated that there was two that you can't get to. Is that in the Justice Center or the courthouse?
There's another area in the Justice Center. There's some, I'm not sure what.
There's, I believe that there's 5 of them in the Justice Center, and what had happened, it's above the mechanical equipment, and the floor was not properly done, so right now we have a consultant looking at to determine how the best way to approach those. I believe there's 5 dampers there that need to be, but that's in a different building. And
So do we know if asbestos is included with those?
No, there is no asbestos. It's just reaching those.
Because I was just wondering if you had this contract going, why wasn't there a caveat to say if there was some additional work that needed to be?
No, this was the only building that had asbestos. The other buildings did not have asbestos.
Okay.
And almost all the other buildings are completed and everything's done. It's just these last 2 buildings now.
Okay. Thank you.
Is this a spot abatement? So are they abating just around the dampers?
Yeah, they're just going to do the work to repair the dampers or replace whatever needs to be done. It's not through the whole building. It's just identified. That's why we had Solar go in and identify the areas and come up with the plans that needed to be done.
Do you have any idea about what % of the building we're abating? Don't have an idea.
No.
And through the chair, what do they do when they remove the asbestos? What happens with that asbestos? Is it left on the company to get rid of it?
Yeah, it's part of they have to properly dispose of it per high EPA codes and stuff. They will remove it. They will take care of all of it. None of it comes back to the county to worry about.
Do we have a mechanism where we check and follow up with these environmental things?
That's where Solar Testing is going to be our representative, who will go and make sure everything is done properly to meet code and everything. Okay. We have them per that. We have them for a part of a consultant to continue on during the abatement process and to go back and check, make sure everything's properly done.
And to add to that, anytime you do asbestos, it has to go to an environmentally controlled landfill. Though, so there's certain requirements on that contractor to make sure that everything's disposed of accordingly. These can't just go to a regular waste landfill. They have to be actually contained in a special way and then disposed of, which is why certain contractors could only bid on this.
And I just wondered if we had a mechanism to check, and even though it's out of our hands, to make sure that whoever we contracted with is doing the proper getting rid of it so it doesn't come back to haunt the county years and years later.
I believe we do have an environmental person who does follow up, and he makes sure that things are done properly and stuff. He's been involved with this whole process from the beginning when we did the study and everything.
So he's an employee.
Jim May.
He's an employee of the county.
Yes, Jim
So we
May.
have records that we've checked.
Yeah.
Okay.
His name is Jim May, and he's been with the county for quite a few years. He's worked with us on a lot of the different pesticide issues, the bed bug issues, these things. So he's very well versed in these issues. Works with the sheriff's department in the shooting range of the old building with a lot of the lead issues. So he gets involved with a lot of these issues as part of his job.
Okay, welcome, Councilwoman Simon. Just to bring you up to date, this is abatement of the asbestos so that they could get to the dampers. That's something separate, okay? So this is the low bid, and any final questions? Okay, I'll move that this goes to the full council for second reading suspension. Is there a second? Okay, any Councilwoman, did you have any questions at all? No. Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Okay, 276 is referred, second reading suspension. 277.
Resolution number 2015-0277, authorizing an amendment to contract number CE 1500248 with Mark Schaefer Excavating and Trucking for Cuyahoga County Airport Runway 624 Safety Area Improvements Project Number 1 in connection with the Airport Improvement Program for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $3,230,048.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Jamal Hassani with Public Works. Mr. Chairman, if you remember, this is where we received extra funds from FAA, about $3.8 million additional funds. So we are able to take the alternative on top of the base bid and award it with this contract. So if you remember, the project one at the airport had a base bid of 4.9 and an alternate. We didn't have the grants at the time, so now we do have them. So we are awarding the contractor the alternate bid, which is about it's about $3.2 million. $2,907,000 of it is from FAA. That's 90%, and the county share would be $323,000. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from members of the committee?
Yes, Mr.
Greenspan?
Yes.
And then Mr. Miller?
So the total project's $3.2 million. Our component is 10%, $320,000
For this alternate bid.
for this. Yes, for this based on this resolution.
Yes.
Under the award. I know we've talked about this in the past. How much time? I know there was a little more lengthy timeline that the airport was going to be closed or have parts of it closed. What are we looking at now based on the current plan?
Okay, actually for this project, Project 1, which consists of a lot of earth moving, the contractor has done a value engineering and has actually proposed to us that he would like to start on January 11 and finish by July 1st, and he proposed that he will not close the runway during the day at all. Originally, we were talking about 30 days.
Yeah.
Now if we allow him to do this, he's only gonna close the runway at night and during some weekends, and he'll be able to complete all his work.
Okay, and is that the only So during the entire, now the totality of the project, not only phase one, but the other phases are project number one, the other project numbers. Is there an anticipated closure of the airport at all? And if so, how long?
Yes. If you remember, Eaton is one of the companies that's out there that had a lot of issues with the closure. So we've been working with them to address the first three projects. So this first project, basically they're not impacted. The second project, originally we had 60 days of closure. After going back, re-engineering it and working with Eaton, we got it down to 30 days and they were happy with that. Project 3 also will have a 30-day closure, plus nights and weekends. Project 4 is the one we still have not completed the design, and that's the one where we're putting the actual EMAS on each end. That project will probably have a little bit more closure time, and we haven't got down to that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Yes, Mr. Miller.
My understanding is that the entire project is a $40 million project with the county putting in 10%. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And what is the expected completion time for the entire series?
Okay, and our plan is to do one project every year. However, everything is based on the funding from FAA. Just like you saw in this one, how we only awarded the base, but then they came back and said, here's more money. So the plan is this project will be done in 16. In August of this year, after the Republican convention, we were going to start project 2, depending on the funding being available. So that project will go from August into 2017. Then the third project will be in the summer of 17, and then the fourth one would be in 18. So that's the plan.
And have we programmed all of the county's $4 million share into our capital improvements budget?
Yes, we have.
So I know we budgeted money for 2016 and 2017 to be paid out of the general fund. How much of the $4 million was programmed for 2016 or 2017 in the biennial budget?
Okay, I'm going by projects. For this project, our local share is about $1,011,000. So the next project, I think, also was around either 1 million or 1.5. Lori knows that. This project is about 10.1 million, so we budgeted 1.1, and then the next project was going to be around 10.5 million. So I think we budgeted 1.5 million.
So we budgeted for the first two projects in 2016 and 17, and if the second project is 10.5 million, then the county share would be 1.05 million, not 1.5. Is that correct?
Yep. Sorry.
Okay, and so the first project is 10 million, so this contract is only part of it. Is that correct? Because this project's for this contract's for 3 million.
Oh yes, it's the same contractor. So he already had the base bid for 4.9, and now he has this. So it's a total of about 7.2. But then we have our engineering and our permits, construction, and all of that will add to it.
Okay. But it sounds like the total cost might come in a little under 10 million if all goes well. Would that be correct?
Yes. Yes, actually, you know, I'll let you know also that through the value engineering that the contractor has done, he is proposing saving about $1.9 million on this project that will come back again as a deduct from the, if we accept his value engineering, which looks like we will.
That's good. Okay, thank you.
Is project 2 bid, or is this based on estimate?
No, yes, it's based on estimate for project 2. The design is complete for project 2. We have to wait until FAA actually authorize us to start the bidding. We could start the bidding within a month or so once we get the authorization.
I'm just wondering, 1, 2, 3, and 4, are they all pretty much related to?
Yes.
I mean, it's likely that the bidder here is going to have pretty much an advantage because they are doing the first quarter.
Except this bidder is more earthwork contractor.
What kind?
He does a lot of earthwork.
Okay, earthwork, okay.
Yeah, so he's not a pavement contractor.
Got it.
The next project is actually pavement, so it's probably not likely, unless he teams up with somebody.
Got it. Okay, is there any other questions?
Just, Mr. Chair. So, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Simon.
I just wanted to have some understanding in regards to, Jamal, you talked about it's basically broken up into 4 different parts, so, and we don't know about the future funding. So I'm assuming that these are all interrelated. If we got down to the 3rd phase and the FAA didn't grant us the funding, how would that make the airport look? How would that impact us in any way?
You're absolutely correct. The ideal situation would have been to give us the $40 million. We do the whole project in 1 year, and we're done. But the fact is that the money is not available. But once they commit, I mean, they have committed to this project. There is really no, I mean, if you do all this grading and then you don't replace the runway, you wasted $10 million. So, I mean, they are committed to the project, but because it's discretionary funds, they come through Congress, they really cannot tell you how much you have until September of every year.
Okay, I was just wanting to worry about that to make sure that they knew the whole scope of the project and making sure that for whatever reason that they would fund this all the way through and we're not looking at a half-done project. Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree. And
okay, 'cause you don't know in today's climate, so
sure. Okay. But at the end of every project, we have a runway. I mean, so even after this project is done, our runway is still there. So they pull the funds for the next one. We'll still have the runway that we have to maintain. It's not a good runway, but it's still there.
Simon?
Just quick recap. The first phase is excavation, dirt, soil. Second phase is a lot of pavement. What's 3 and 4 then?
3 and 4, then we're working on the ends. Remember, we're extending the runway by 500 feet. And then, so we have to fix the both ends. So we'll work at one end and then the other. Then really the 4th one is bring in those EMS blocks and put them in. And those actually are a huge cost because it's one company that makes it. The estimate now is between $10 to $12 million for those blocks.
And where are those blocks exactly?
What are they?
Yeah.
They're made out of some concrete material that collapse if the airplane overshoots the runway and hits those. They break slowly. They're sloped to take all that energy from the plane and absorb it. They're like guardrail for cars, but less. They don't do a lot of damage to the plane. Actually, I've seen pictures where the plane goes in and then it's pulled out. it stops it. So yeah, it's a specific lightweight concrete material.
Okay, so then, I guess you need to get this going right away, or?
No, actually, because the contractor is going to start, he has the base bid, so he's probably not going to get to this for a couple of months. So if you want to take
so
3 readings.
We'll go 3 readings.
Just, Mr. Chair, if we can, before, I have one more question
Sure, go
on
ahead.
these blocks. So if the plane hits them, do we have to replace them
Yes.
at this cost? So,
Well, usually you go after the insurance company of the
Okay.
planes.
oh, I see.
Yes.
Their liability.
It's
Okay.
basically.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I'd like to be insuring.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, also, to also, I know you wanted a public meeting, so we're having the pre-construction meeting Monday with the contractor. And then I will check with you on the dates. Probably sometime in January or early February, we'll have an open house meeting for the public, so they could come in and see how the sequence of construction is.
Okay, can we have a motion?
Make a
Councilwoman,
motion to move this to the full council for third reading,
second reading?
second reading.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any final questions? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. It's adopted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, miscellaneous business. Let me just say that, just kind of a forewarning, I will be out of town. I'm going to be actually evaluating the public works of Lee County, Florida. And so I'll be out for the first council meeting. I'll be out from the 1st to the 22nd of February. And Councilman Miller will chair any meetings if we need them. So is there anything else anybody would like to bring forward on public works?
I just wondered if we could ask Jamal in regards to give us an update on the opportunity corridor.
Jamal, are you ready?
Well, no, actually, because ODOT is running that job, I know they recently sent us asking for money, but I can get back to you. Let me just give a call to ODOT, see where it is. You just want to know, like, what's the construction going on and what's...
when will phase 2 come before council?
Well, I don't know if that will come through us, because we don't have, remember, that road, the phase 2, which is the new road, that's not even a county road at this point. I mean, I don't know what it's going to be, if it's going to be a city street or a... So the reason they came to us for the first one, because East 105th is a county road. So I'm not sure, unless they're coming to ask us for funds, I'm not sure that phase will come through us. But I can give you an update about 105th.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, well, that concludes our business. This meeting stands adjourned.